Hey Google, what's my name?
Your name is Adam.
Hey Google, do you love me?
I sure do. Together, we're as winning as one of the world's all-time great teams. Want to answer a few quick questions so we can figure out our special kind of bond?
Nah, I'm good. Hi guys, it's me, Adam Garratt, and welcome back to the kitchen where you can watch me make you some delicious food. Now, I don't know about you, but I always end up with a bit of cheese left over after Christmas. I found a block of Stilton in the back of the fridge and I thought, oh, what am I going to do with that? It needs using up before it goes off, which I know kind of sounds a bit weird because Stilton is off in a sense, but I need to use it up. So I was thinking, well, I could make like a bit of a gratin, I could do some sort of pie, a sort of quiche or something like that. But then I thought to myself, it's January, everybody's skint, so I want to make it cheap, but also kind of healthy. So I'm going to make a Stilton and broccoli soup. Now, this is one of the easiest soups to make. It's hardly any ingredients and it's really, really easy to put together. It freezes really well, so whatever you got left over, you can freeze it. You can scale up the ingredients to make a bigger batch. It's just a really simple, comforting soup. And it's cold as well, so it's perfect for a winter's day. But anyway, that's what we're going to make today. So if you look down below, you can get all the ingredients you need. And the first thing we need to do is go and chop some veg. Right, so I've got my veg here, and as you can see, it takes very little to make this soup. It's very affordable and also very nutritious. So what I'm going to do is just take the leeks, the broccoli, the garlic and everything else off, and I'm just going to whiz through these onions and slice them nice and fine. And I'm going to use my trusty, very sharp filleting knife, because as you know from the last video, every one of my other knives is blunt. So all I'm going to do is just kind of take these ends off, slice them in half, peel them. You know the drill. Okay, so once you peel the onions, what we're going to do is just whiz through these and slice them sort of fairly fine, but you don't need to be too fussy with it because it's all going to be blended up in the end. So I'm just going to chop through these. Right, so I've got our onions chopped just there, nice and fine. Now we're going to do the same with the garlic. Again, no need to be too fussy because it's going to get whizzed up. And I'm not using a lot of garlic here because I don't want a strong flavour. I just want a nice sort of background, gentle sort of garlic flavour. It just enhances the vegetables. And then just run your knife and slice it nice and fine. I'm showing off here, aren't I? It's only because I've got a sharp knife. Okay, just like that. Nothing too fussy. Get that in with the onions. Okay, and then now onto the leek. Now I'm going to show you a quick trick with this because obviously you need to wash your leeks. Well, any vegetable that you're buying loose, you need to wash it. I know sometimes I don't, but that's just me, but you really should because it gets rid of all the nasty kind of bugs and whatever else might be on it. But with leeks especially, because what can happen is lots of dirt and gristle can get in between these leaves. And if you don't wash it, you'll end up with bits of mud in your finished soup, so you don't want that. So I'm going to show you a quick easy trick on how to wash them properly. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just take off that top piece, because that's going to be a bit tough and not very pleasant. It's also got a bit of raggedy ends on it as well, we don't want that. And all I'm going to do is just, taking my knife, is just go down the length of the leek. Okay, trying to keep it central even. Okay, and then turn it, so the opposite side, cut down it again. All the way down the length. Just like so. And you can see it sort of fans out, okay, but it holds it all together because we've still got that piece of root. So now what we need to do is wash it, okay, and then under a tap you can just sort of fan it out and rinse out all that mud and goodness knows what else. Okay, and now they're ready to slice. Right, last bit of prep I'm going to show you. I'm not going to bother with the potato, just peel it and cut it into chunks. You've all seen that. But I'm going to show you with the broccoli because what we're going to do is use the stalk as well. I'm sure a lot of you, and me the same, you know, when I cook broccoli for a dinner, I'll take off the florets and just bin the stalk or put it on a compost heap or something like that. But for the soup, it's really good to use because there's lots of flavour in there. So what I'm going to do is just take off the florets to start with. They don't need to look pretty because it's all going to get blended up, as I said. Okay, I'm going to stick the florets just in a bowl out the way a sec. Everything, the leaves, little bits, all of it. Just There's going to be no waste with this soup. And then you're kind of left with this stump, or the stalk. Now, you could just chop it up, but what I'm going to do is just kind of peel the outside edge, because that can be a bit woody and a bit sort of not very pleasant, a bit stringy, not very nice. So I'm just going to take off all of that, and I'm going to take off that end piece, because again, that's quite stringy and tough. Get rid of that bit of rubbish. There's hardly any waste. I know I said there was no waste, but there is a little bit. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is just run my knife down the middle and just sort of dice it up into chunks. And like I said before, all you're going to do with the potato is just peel it and cut it into chunks. Now, the potato's not really there for flavour, it's there as a thickener, because we're not going to put any flour or anything like that in it, so we need something to give it thickness, and that's what the potato does. It adds a bit of creaminess to it as well, but it's mainly there as a thickener. So I'm going to crack on with that, and then we can get cooking. So here I've got myself a nice deep stock pot. You're going to need that to make the soup. And all I'm going to do is add some olive oil to that. I would say, I don't know, a couple of tablespoons. You can use like butter if you want, but remember we're trying to keep this a bit healthier. I'm going to get that onto a lowish heat, long hob, to start. And then we're going to add our leeks, onion and garlic. Now you can just use onion for this recipe, but we want to pack as much veg in this as possible. And leeks are very good for you, as are onions and broccoli, so that's why I'm using both. I'm going to take this spoon that's nicely stained from turmeric, from the curries that I've made recently, and I'm just going to sweat these down for about 10 to 15 minutes until they go nice and translucent. Now you can add a pinch of salt, but be very careful because there's going to be salt in the stock, and also Stilton's quite salty as well, so it's just a pinch in order to get the juices out of the onions and leeks. So I'm going to lovingly tend to this for about 10-15 minutes, and when that's done, we can move on to the next step. It's smelling great already, actually. Soup! Okay, so our leeks and onion have softened quite nicely. Now I will say, that leek I used was probably a bit too big, so if you're going to make this, use a smaller one, but it doesn't really matter, it's still going to be nice. So now I'm going to add the stalk of the broccoli and also the potato, and then just enough vegetable stock just to cover it. We're not going to add the broccoli stalks just yet because we want to keep them nice and green and vibrant. So we only just want to cook them just until they're tender. So now what we're going to do is cook this for a further 5 to 10 minutes until the potatoes are nice and tender and the broccoli stalks are cooked through. Right, so the potatoes and the broccoli stalk are pretty much cooked. So now we can go in with the florets. And again, what we want to do is just top it up with some more stock, and again, not too much because this is going to be quite a thick soup. If you put too much in, it's going to be really watery, so just enough to cover it. There's about 1 litre of stock in there. If it's too thick, you can always add a touch more water or a bit more stock, but remember, you can't really take it away. And then you want to bring it to a boil, turn the heat down to a nice gentle simmer, and again cook that for about 5 to 10 minutes until the broccoli is nice and tender. Just stick a knife in. If it goes in really easily, it's done. Right, okay, so that's the soup pretty much done. We're not far off now. Everything is cooked down, the broccoli's nice and tender, the potatoes and everything else. So now what we need to do is to blend this up. Now you can do this in a food processor, but honestly it's a bit of a pain because food processors aren't that great for sort of blending up soups. So what you want to do, you might already have one, but if you haven't, buy one of these. It's called a stick blender. And these are fantastic for soups because it's less washing up because you don't have to wash out all the containers of a food processor and everything. You just got this stick blender, you put it in the pot and whiz it up. I'll put a link down below where you can buy one off Amazon. This one was about 20 odd quid I think, but it is quite loud, so I'm going to cut the sound out whilst I blend this up. Right, so that's the soup, nice and whizzed up. That's about the right thickness for me. I think that's a perfect thickness for this kind of soup, but if you want it a bit thinner, just add a touch more stock. So now what we can do is add the Stilton. Now be very careful with Stilton because depending on the one that you buy kind of determines how strong it is. So some can be quite salty, some not so. So just kind of judge it as you go. Now this is a 200 gram block here of long clawson Stilton. This is a really high quality Stilton. And what I'm going to do is just start breaking it in just a little bit at a time. And I'm probably going to use about 150 grams of this Stilton. And just stir it through until it melts. I've put the soup on a very gentle heat because we don't really want to cook it anymore. We just want to add that sort of Stilton flavour and season it up. Now I didn't really add any salt or pepper to this because Stilton's quite salty, and also we've got salt in the stock as well. And what you want to do is just take a spoon and just give it a quick taste. Can really taste that broccoli, but it certainly needs more Stilton, so I'm going to go in with another chunk and just keep going like that until you get the flavour that you want and that you're happy with, because at the end of the day it's your soup. I think what it does need is a touch of pepper. Now I'm using white pepper, so it goes really well with potatoes and the veg. Just a little pinch of salt. I don't think it needs too much. And it's all about tasting, guys. Taste, taste, taste. Right, okay, so I think this is probably ready, so I'm going to give it another quick taste. That is superb. And you can sort of see how much Stilton I use there, so about right really, it's about 150 grams. But again, do it to your taste, it's your soup. So now what I'm going to do is cut some bread up, dish this up in a bowl, and we can tuck in. Right, let's dig into this puppy. It's a little bit cool now, but never mind. Delicious, absolutely delicious. Got that perfect balance between broccoli and that background flavour of that Stilton. Remember, you don't want it too strong. You don't want it to overpower the broccoli and everything else. It's all about balance. It's creamy, delicious, fresh, and it's healthy. Okay, Stilton's cheese, but a little bit goes a long way. I mean, this will feed, what, 6 people as a starter, probably 4 people if you're just having it as a main with some bread. Like I said before, this is really cost effective. A bit of Stilton left over, some broccoli, some onions, got a bit of stock in there, some leeks, seasoning, and you've got yourself a banging soup. Well, there we have it. That's my simple to make broccoli and Stilton soup. Now, you don't actually have to use Stilton. You can use any blue cheese you like. Roquefort, Dolce Latte. But remember, with those kind of cheeses, you might need a bit more because they're much milder, a lot creamier, so just kind of adjust it to your tastes. So I'm going to wrap this up. If you like the video, then please stick a like down below, leave a comment as well, and please share this as much as you can. I'm trying to reach 50k subscribers this year, and I'd really appreciate it if you can help me get that far. I don't know if I will, but I'm going to try. But I'm going to leave you to it. Thanks again for watching. If you stick around at the end, there'll be some links to some other videos, and also my face will be up there so you can subscribe. So I'll see your lovely faces in the next video, and bye for now.